Nick Caserio is going to get fired? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new episode of The Lead. Your host, as always, Harley Dugan. Today, we are going to be reacting to a video from John Granado and Lance Zierlein, TheBench 97.5 on ESPN Houston. Boys, that intro was hard. Is Nick Caserio going to get fired? They shed some light into what Lance Zierlein is actually hearing. A little bit of analysts into it as well. Overall, the temperature check in Houston, Texans Twitter, it does not feel good. Should Nick Caserio get fired? Will he get fired? Is it a mutual parting of ways? What is happening right now with the Texans? It's never been a dull moment for the offseason. This is both exciting and crazy at the same time. I don't know what else to say, so we're just going to play the video. Here we go.
Hey everybody, I'm John Granado. That's Lance Zierlein. You can hear us mornings on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. Hit subscribe if you haven't yet so you get all of our content here at SportsMap HOU. Lance, based on what you're hearing, if the Texans made a move on Caserio right after the draft, where would that be coming from? You think that's somewhat of where the fans, how the fans are reacting, or what the fans think of Nick Caserio?
No, it's all ownership. I mean, if they make a change on, I haven't heard anything other than the fact that I did hear some teams saying that, they thought there was a little buzz that Nick could be on the hot seat and maybe could be gone after the draft. Actually, I got that from a media member. If that's the case, I think it really speaks to the fact that maybe Cal McNair and Hannah McNair, the family of the organization, the ownership, has maybe lost some faith and some confidence in Nick Caserio. And, his press conference where he seemed to be unsure of his situation, that was something that was a little strange for us. And now that Jack Easterby's out of the building, that's the guy that brought Nick Caserio in, negotiated his deal. You do wonder maybe a little bit if maybe Hannah and Cal McNair and ownership group looks at Nick Caserio as a Jack Easterby guy. Well, whether that's fair or not, that could be the case.
There are still plenty of people in the building that Caserio had a hand in hiring, but that Easterby had a hand in hiring. But Caserio is the most public guy, right? I don't any other people that Easterby had a hand in are probably all gone. And I could certainly see where the McNairs would want to separate. That era is over. I mean, it was a disaster. Let's get away from all of that. I could see where Caserio is still sitting there, and they could probably, with a side eye, you're still a guy that we associate with Jack Easterby.
Yeah, but I think that's unfair. I mean, Nick Caserio built himself up into who he was before Jack Easterby was ever part of the Patriots. He was well respected before that.
That's pretty much the bulk of what I want to get into. And it's not the Jack Easterby stuff. I could care less about the guy. And that is like Voldemort. Okay, you don't say that name inside Houston Texans fan basing. So, with that said, Nick Caserio could end up getting fired from the Houston Texans. Overall, this is confusing. The timing of it just doesn't make sense for me. When I look at Nick Caserio's resume as a whole, you can discuss it however you want to say. You can say he didn't do great as a GM, and I can agree with you. You could also say that he didn't have the perfect best situation to walk in. Actually, he had the worst situation in NFL history and did a well job with what he had to work with. I can agree with both ends of the spectrum here. Nick Caserio getting fired hurts. It really hurts in terms of the optics of the Houston Texans. You just hired the hottest head coaching candidate on the market. Your free agency was, it was all right. It wasn't too bad. Ended very well. And now you could be not grabbing a quarterback at 2, leaning on Will Anderson. Whether or not that's true, who knows? The ideas are being floated more and more every day. Nick Caserio, now we're getting word, is that he could be let go. He could be fired or parting of ways after the draft. We saw a tweet already coming from John Crumpler, and John McClain had mentioned some of what Lance Zierlein said, that it was a friend of Nick Caserio saying that he would not be shocked if he saw Nick Caserio back with New England after the draft is over. And that right there, folks, I don't know how to react to it. It's absolutely mind-boggling to think about. The Houston Texans could lose Nick Caserio. Whether or not it's warranted, who cares? You could be losing your GM, a guy that now it definitely feels like there's a power struggle between him and DeMeco Ryans. It definitely feels that way now, where we didn't think it was before. DeMeco Ryans seems to have all of the sway with the Houston Texans fan base, organization. He definitely has it. They hired him based off that alone, plus what he could be as a head coach. That's no problem. But now Nick Caserio can't work with the dude. He can't even try to work with the dude. My overall feel is this. The Houston Texans, if y'all are skeptical of Nick Caserio, fire him immediately. He shouldn't have even laid his hands on a free agent, on any sort of offseason moves whatsoever. If you had an ounce of doubt in Nick Caserio, you should have fired him to begin with and reset this whole franchise, and then get the GM, and then hire DeMeco Ryans, and now proceed moving forward with this team. It feels backwards to fire Nick Caserio, but maybe 2 steps back is 4 steps forward. Who knows? The potential rumors of Gary Kubiak at GM. Maybe, if you did not see Patrick Storm's banner, wink, 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 Adam Peters, he's a personnel executive front office for the San Francisco 49ers. If you follow me, I've mentioned Adam Peters 2 years ago as a possible hire for this Texans NFL GM. But I digress. The Houston Texans, this does not look good, especially draft month. You're 2 weeks away from the draft, and you could be firing your GM, let alone letting him go after the draft. Wonder what kind of toll and effect this has on the franchise moving forward. It's yet to be seen, but we've seen others fire their GM after the draft, but that was usually because of certain circumstances that have happened before, and that came about. Nick Caserio, I thought, was in good faith with the McNairs, and I thought he was going to be your GM and going to see out this head coaching hire. Now it doesn't seem that way. Maybe Cal isn't as dumb as you think he is. Maybe he is getting smarter. I don't necessarily think it's a bad move to fire Nick Caserio, but I disagree with the overall timing and am confused as to what the Texans are doing right now at this very moment. As always, guys, go Astros, go Rockets, go Texans. Y'all have a blessed day.